Hello, Meoni here, and welcome back to another patch note reading. But today is patch 6.55's release, and we've got the preliminary patch notes. Further information will be added to them as the hours go by. The patch is set to go live at 10 AM GMT my time. It is currently around 9 AM, and we have these notes from about an hour ago. It is the 16th of January 2024. So in this patch, which is just over 700 megabytes, over 500 if you're on PlayStation, features all sorts of different content, including Tatari's Grand Endeavor, somehow further Hildebrand adventures, the Mandeville Weapon series continuation, a brand new trial, and indeed the final part of the 6.5 storyline leading us into Dawn Trail. So as you can see, we have plenty of playable items to actually go through. First of all then, we get two images for the main scenario quest. This is obviously debuting the new character, Wook Lamart, as the envoy from the new world, essentially. And we also see Kryl as her Pictomancer form. To actually start this, there is actually a quest in X 4.4 Y 9.8 in Radzat Han, at Varshan, at his little temple at the Megaduta, and it appears that there are 3 quests for this time around. They said that this is only going to take 2 to 3 hours this time around in one of the interviews with Yoshi P, because it's just there to set up things in motion for 7.0. And let's move on to side story quests then. For somehow further Hildebrand adventures, you need to go over to Radzat Han as well and talk to Delian at X 11.4 Y 11.5 to continue the quest line, which has been up to this point quite funny. It should result in some interesting revelations this time around, and there is actually a trial associated with it, which is awesome. So the first quest is of duplicity and duplication, and then there's Gentleman at Heart. So 2 quests there, and those lead us into the final stage of the Mandeville Weapons. To continue this, obviously you need to have done those 2 quests here. You must have also completed a Spirit Reforging, which is a previous up to this patch 6.4 sort of weapon, essentially, and then you'll be able to pick this one up straight away after completing Gentleman at Heart. You can go over to Radzat Han and talk to Geralt as per usual. So I can't wait to see what the weapons look like. Hopefully they're good, but we'll have to wait and see. Tatari's Grand Endeavor then should be wrapping up. Quite honestly, this storyline has gone on for a long time. There are all sorts of things that we could get as a reward from this, but I'm interested to see what exactly the payoff will be. Of course, storyline-wise, without talking about it, I've found it quite entertaining. That continues in Old Charlian at Medina, which is at that main plaza area at X 11.8 Y 9.8, and of course starts with Treasured Bonds, and there's one other quest after that. So cool. And of course, the prerequisites are doing all of the previous stuff up until this point. Island Sanctuary actually has a quest, so that you must have completed Growing Light, as well as the side story quest, The Sweetest Thing. This is at the Curious Courier. It says, Where Worries Melt Away. Now, this should be the final quest for Island Sanctuary. I'm not sure what you'll get as a reward for this, but this is the last part of Island Sanctuary, or at least its main content, before they wrap that up for other lifestyle content in Dawn Trail. So we'll have to go and have a look at that over in the island. The new Tribal Alliance quest has been added, so there are actually 2 quests for this. I've not really a clue what the reward could be yet. Of course, you need to go to Ultima Thule, and you must have already completed the Hippo Riders, Life, the Universe, and Coffee Beans, and Dreams Come True. So all of the recent tribal quests up to completion. Talk to Jamming Way in Ultima Thule at 27.5, 24.5 for dinner and a show. There seems to be 2 quests. Who knows what we'll get from that. There are also new chapters added to New Game Plus. This includes Endwalker Part 3 and 4, and it requires you to have completed the final quest of Endwalker Part 4, so lots of stuff there. And Hildebrand gets added, and Tatari's Grand Endeavors to the side story section of New Game Plus as well. Pretty cool. Moving on to the housing then, there's loads of new furnishings. They haven't shown them all here, but we do have some furnishing design contest winners. So this is from 2019 and 2022. It's kind of like this show curtain, which is absolutely awesome. It's got like a mobile above it. I quite like that. I'll probably end up using that pretty quickly, actually. I quite like that. There does appear to be a Copricore bonsai tree, which is pretty entertaining. We've got a grape-themed lantern for outdoor spaces, which is just... That's brilliant. And we've also got this Magitech repair station, I think that might be. Very nice. New orchestrion rolls, of course. New Mandeville Gold Saucer stuff. So it says new prizes available for MGP. This could be just triple triad cards, as more of those have been added. Or we could see some items as well. Maybe some of the housing items, who knows. Miscellaneous section then. Players will now receive a pop-up message when an island sanctuary construction or renovation is completed. The message will display upon entering the island sanctuary and at periodic intervals during a visit. So this is quite nice, especially if you're like, I don't want to stand next to the placard of this workshop. I want it to tell me when it's done. Well, now it will. Very cool stuff. Thalia has been added to the new objectives list in Wondrous Tales, so the new Alliance raid gets added to that. There are new emotes. Considering the backdrop of this, I would wager that's from the Tribal Alliance quest, I'm guessing, which is kind of like a weird dance maybe, or putting your fingers in your ears. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Some kind of pose. The new trial then, the Gilded Araya, which if you have gone to FanFest, you got to play. It was quite a fun fight, actually, not too difficult, and there was interesting music being played at the time, and I theorized this is definitely Hildebrand. Well, it turns out it is actually part of the Hildebrand questline. It is a brand new trial, Gentleman at Heart. So who knows when a serious thing like this is going to... I don't know. I'm sure there are some cutscenes that will explain this. I can't wait. Is it just Greg again? Who knows? Of course, 625 item level to get in there. 60-minute time limit. Very cool. And of course, that's part of the questline with Hildy. The drop rate for the Links of Abyssal Grief Flute has been increased. Very nice. And the drop rate for the Links of Fallen Shadow has been further increased. You can also now exchange the totems at Navarre's in Radzat-Han X 10.6 Y 10.0 to actually get your Links of Fallen Shadow. If you want to get your totems for that now, you can. Gilded Aria is also in the Duty Roulette Trials, as well as Mentor Roulette. So when you get to that, I'm sure you'll see lots of people going through that today. PvP changes then, there are actually quite a few. There are further explanation of PvP action changes and adjustments, which can be found on the job guide. So bear in mind this is out of context. We'll quickly go through this, there's not too many. Purify. Resilience will now be granted unconditionally. Okay. Paladin, Holy Sheltron, the damage reduction of Knight's Resolve has been increased from 15 to 20%. So Paladin's actually getting a 5% buff to Holy Sheltron. That's interesting. Monk then, Riddle of Earth, the duration of Earth Resonance has been reduced, rather, from 10 to 8 seconds. Interesting. I don't play Monk, so let me know what that changes for you. Ninja, Goka Mekakyakyakyu, I can't pronounce that. Area of effect radius has been increased from 5 to 6 yarms, so an increase of 1 yarm on that move. We're not going to pronounce again. Reaper, Tenebrae Lemurum, the duration of Enshrouded has been increased from 15 to 20 seconds. Wow, okay. That's a significant buff, isn't it? Bard then. Bard has actually seen 4 upgrades for this. Very strange. Silent Nocturne, the recast time has been increased from 20 to 30 seconds. Imperial Arrow has had its potency reduced from 4,000 to 3,000. Wow. The Warden's Peon, recast time has been reduced from 30 to 25 seconds, and the barrier duration has been reduced from 10 to 8 seconds. So these are mostly nerfs, as far as I know. Blast Arrow, potency has been increased, however, from 8,000 to 10,000. So they want you to do more Blast Arrow. They want you to use Warden's Peon more often, but the barrier lasts less time. And Imperial Arrow and Silent Nocturne have had a nerf. Okay. Dancer, honing evasion, attack and barrier potency granted by each stack of acclaim has been increased from 1,000, 2,000, blah, 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 to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. So basically 1,000 on the base upwards. Very interesting. That's quite a big buff, isn't it? Black Mage in PvP then, the maximum health has been raised to 49,500 to fix, obviously, Black Mage having a bit too much squishiness. I don't know, is a 1,500 HP going to be enough? Who knows? And White Mage, Miracle of Nature, recast time has been increased from 30 to 45 seconds, so a bit of a nerf there as well. But those are the PvP changes for the most part to PvP actions, and we can click on the job guide if we wanted to. Link in the description. Frontline changes then. Oh boy. The following adjustments have been made to job, damage, output, and limit gauge fill rates. So Gunbreaker and Astrologian damage modifiers have been adjusted from 0% to -5%. Okay. Dragoon and Samurai damage modifiers have been adjusted from 0 to -10%. Wow. Huge nerfs there on Dragoon and Samurai. Dark Knight and Summoner damage modifiers have been adjusted from -10 to -15. Presumably that's because of Bahamut, right? With the damage output. And a 15-second modifier has been applied to the limit gauge fill rate for Dark Knight, Gunbreaker, and Summoner. Okay. Quite a lot of changes then, mid-patch. Very interesting. The following adjustments have been made to Fields of Glory Shatter. So this is the number of large Icebound Tomb Lifts active at once has been increased from 1 to 2. And the small ones from 5 to 15. So does this mean there'll be less of a clear-cut way of doing things? You'll be able to go and pester one of the other teams then? More variation in where you go, I suppose. Less clear-cut ways of what you should do. Lots of interesting tactics will no doubt arise from the chaos. The time before the small Icebound Tomb Lift activates has been increased from 5 to 420 seconds. So there's a lot longer then before the Tomb Lift activates. That's interesting. The time for small Icebound Tomb Lifts to reactivate has been increased from 5 to 420 seconds as well. The data awarded for destroying large Icebound Tomb Lifts has been reduced from 250 to 200. This just seems like they're trying to make the matches last longer, in my opinion. I don't know. The time for large Icebound Tomb Lifts to respawn has been reduced from 120 to 60. Oh, okay, maybe not. The time for small Icebound, okay, 60 to 360. The maximum health of a large Icebound Tomb Lift has been reduced as well, from 4 million to 3 million health. And also the small ones have been reduced from 400k to 300k. The data awarded for knocking out a rival player has been reduced from 10 to 5. So I guess it's just the start of a match then. It's a little bit slower and then it ramps up and there's less value, even more so in killing players now. Interesting. But they've also got more variation of where you go for the tome lifts. That'll be interesting actually to try that. Interesting, that just affects Fields of Glory Shatter. So, new items have been added. They'll add those to this bit in a bit. There's also new recipes for crafters, a new big fish. Very cool. New mounts. There we go. That's what we've been waiting for. The UFO mount, presumably from Hildy. Not sure how you get this. Probably from a Gilded Aria, or maybe it's from the quest itself. But can't wait to get that personally. A new barding. I don't really know what to say about that one. It looks very adventure-y. We've got the backpack on the back. Looks good. Very basic though. A lot of people will dig this. I don't know where this is from. I'm sure we'll find out more. And then the best thing probably of this entire patch note is a new fashion accessory. You know how a long time ago I was like, dude, why can't we get his backpack? Why can't we get Aaron Veal's backpack? I want his backpack. The Gleaner backpack looks amazing. Turns out we're getting it, and who knows where this is from. It could be Gold Saucer, could be Tatari's Grand Endeavors. We'll find out in a few moments, I guess, when the patch goes live, but that is awesome. That is really awesome. I'm really looking forward to getting that. And of course, it works perfectly for the theme of going on an adventure, like Bilbo Baggins. System. In order to prevent server congestion immediately after the release of 6.55, there will be multiple instances for Old Sharlayan. They're going to monitor this and see if they need to fix this at some point. Specific instances can be selected when you enter from a neighboring area or teleporting via Aetheryte. So, yeah, same as usual. There's going to be lots of people in Old Sharlayan to be expected. New achievements and titles. Oh, there's the dance. It's a Lot Pop. So, Leporit plus, yeah, it's like a multiple tribal quest alliance dance. Can't wait to get that. The Lot Pop. Additions have been made to the auto translation dictionary as usual, and the PlayStation 4 and 5 dictionary. New trophies have been added to PS5. And of course, new music, sound effects, and voices. Very cool stuff. On the resolved section, let's see, is there anything of interest? The following issues have been addressed. An issue during the main scenario quest Growing Light wherein a portion of cutscene graphics did not display correctly. An issue during the Alliance Raid Thalia where then the Dropsy status effect would not expire under certain circumstances. Wow, that's interesting. Permanent Dropsy. An issue during the second boss of Battle of another Aloha Island wherein incapacitated players who were revived at certain points in the battle are incorrectly marked with an icon over their heads. Oh, that's interesting. So it's like a persist after death thing. An issue in the new Crystalline Conflict Arena, the Red Sands, which I still haven't seen, by the way, in the game, wherein the camera would function incorrectly with a close proximity of certain objects. Okay. There was also another issue there wherein line of sight of certain objects was not set, set incorrectly, rather. An issue wherein the graphical effects of the Reaper's arm exquisite avatar scythe would not display correctly. So, what else have we got? An issue with the wall-mounted portrait of the traders wherein a mark on Nalthal's face was positioned incorrectly. That's like a lore thing, isn't it? Very interesting. An issue with the Cloud9 Framers kit wherein the acquired frames would not display correctly. Okay, another issue with a glamour dresser wherein opening the armoire whilst editing a plate would cause the resulting window to appear in a wrong position. Okay, lots of things that glamour dresser and the new armoire allowing for cash up items probably mess things up. This is other various issues have been addressed. So currently there are two known things that are a problem with this patch. So firstly, there's an issue regarding two furnishings added in 6.55, the Imitation Magitech Repair Station, which is a floor unit, and Imitation Magitech Repair Station wall unit, wherein some graphics and animations do not display correctly. So if we get those items in a game, we have to be a little bit fair with that. They've notified us that it's a bit broken. Okay, fair enough. An issue also occurs regarding a mount in 6.55, the UFO, wherein sound effects do not play correctly during transit. So if you're wondering why there's no weird sound effects while you're flying around in your UFO from Hildy, this is why. But that's not too bad, is it? Two known issues, a bunch of fixed stuff, very cool stuff, and I'm looking forward to obviously this patch. I'll have videos on everything we can find, but the biggest thing to take from this for me, the backpack. It's got to be, isn't it? Anyway, much love. See you all later for more videos. Bye bye.